This is a team that already has the MVP of the league, two 24-year-old all-stars entering their prime, and a war chest of first-round picks that feels endless. And somehow that wasn't enough. So what did they do? They went out and traded for one of the most dangerous young shooters in basketball. And the scary part? It barely cost them anything that hurts. Because when you own that many picks, it almost doesn't matter which one you move. What matters is this: the best team in the NBA just addressed its biggest weakness. Not for 3 years from now, not as a long-term project, right now. And that weakness was shooting. This wasn't a maybe he developed swing. This was targeted, calculated. The Thunder didn't trade for Jared McCain just because he fits their culture. They traded for him because he fills a real on-court need immediately. Watch the tape. He catches the ball from Hartenstein, drives into the paint, forces the defense to collapse, whips it out to Case and Wallace, and instead of standing still, he relocates to the corner, calling for the ball back. Splash. That quick give-and-go gravity, that off-ball instinct, it should remind you of someone. No one is Stephen Curry. Let's make that clear. But McCain has flashed pieces of that movement shooting profile: the relocation, the confidence, the lightning-fast trigger. And this isn't new. As a rookie with the Philadelphia 76ers, he wasn't just solid. He was productive. Before injuries derailed his momentum, he was averaging an efficient 15 points per game and trending toward Rookie of the Year conversations. Pull-up threes in transition, mid-range counters, finishing through contact. Night after night, he looked less like a role player and more like a future all-star. Then came the setbacks. A season-ending injury followed by a torn thumb right before the next year began. Add in roster changes and a new draft pick, and suddenly the future cornerstone narrative faded. That's when Sam Presti did what he always does. He bought low. Ignore the first handful of games while McCain was clearly working his way back. Zoom out, and you'll see this. Over 40% from three in the NBA, 41% in college, smooth mechanics, quick release, deep range. This isn't a hot streak. This is who he is. And for a contender that desperately needed shooting, the Thunder didn't just add spacing. They added a weapon. And even though he's only 7 games into his run with the Oklahoma City Thunder, the impact is already showing. He's knocking down 44% of his threes in that stretch. And these aren't just wide open, standstill looks. They're movement shots, relocation shots, pressure shots. But the three-point number isn't even the most impressive part. What makes Jared McCain different is that he isn't one-dimensional. Run him off the line and he doesn't panic. He counters. Take the possession where his defender is face-guarding him off the ball, trying to erase him from the arc entirely. Instead of forcing it, McCain calmly slips into the mid-range, takes one controlled dribble, and rises. The pull-up is smooth, balanced, automatic, or the play where it looks like he's about to use the screen. The defense prepares for it, and he instantly rejects it, attacking the open pocket of space. One dribble, elevate, cash. Then there's the strength component. On another possession, he backs his defender down, gets to his preferred spot, and hits the turnaround fade. That's not something you expect from a guard his size. And that's the underrated part of his game. At 6'1" or 6'2", surviving in the NBA requires something special. You either need blazing speed or serious strength. McCain may not be the fastest guard in the league, but his lower body strength allows him to absorb contact and hold his ground. Similar to how players like Jalen Brunson, Kyle Lowry, and Fred VanVleet have built careers. He plays through defenders, not around them. And what truly separates him is the release. There's no wasted motion. It's that one dribble rhythm into an effortless pull-up. The ball is out before the defender can recover. That compact, repeatable mechanics package is what makes his scoring scalable. He even shows touch around the rim. On one sequence, he comes off a tight handoff with a defender glued to his hip. Instead of forcing a tough layup, he uses a quick in-and-out dribble to freeze the help defender and floats a soft teardrop over length. That's craft. That's feel. When you zoom out, you see the full scoring map. Threes, mid-range pull-ups, strength-based post counters, and finesse finishes. This wasn't a hot week. This was the continuation of something we were already starting to see. A guard who can score from all 3 levels, on his terms. He was punishing mismatches. He was pulling up from 3 with confidence. And when people bring up the 15 points per game, that number doesn't even capture how dominant he was becoming. Before the injury last season, over his final 15 games, Jared McCain was averaging over 19 points and 3 assists while shooting nearly 40% from deep. That wasn't empty production. That was efficiency, versatility, and rhythm all coming together. He wasn't just spacing the floor, he was controlling possessions. And then it stopped. Season-ending injury, missed the entire second half, missed off-season reps, missed preseason. Then came the torn thumb. For a young guard, that's devastating. Development at that stage is about repetition, live reps, game speed, confidence cycles. When you lose months of that, you don't just flip a switch and return to peak form overnight. Young players need rhythm more than anything. Timing, feel, conditioning. Without off-season work and preseason build-up, stepping into meaningful NBA minutes is incredibly difficult. So when his early season numbers looked uneven, context mattered. And despite all of that, he still hovered around 40% from 3. That tells you the shooting is real. It also tells you how defenses treat him. And yes, gravity gets overused, but in this case, it applies. When you're that level of shooter, defenders overreact. They cheat, they panic. There's a play where he catches a pass, and 2 defenders immediately sprint at him to prevent the shot. The result? Isaiah Joe is left wide open. That's the ripple effect. Even when McCain doesn't score, he bends the defense. For the Oklahoma City Thunder, that matters. This gives them another layer, another option when they need spacing, a bench spark, or a playoff adjustment. Shooting translates in the postseason. Shot-making under pressure translates. And McCain's profile fits that environment. But the real genius of this move isn't just the basketball fit. It's the contract. Over the next 3 seasons, he'll average roughly $5 million per year. If he gives you 15 to 18 efficient points, plus spacing and secondary playmaking, that's one of the best value deals in the league. You simply cannot find that production in free agency for that price. And that's why this trade makes sense long-term. While other teams cash in draft capital for expensive veterans, Sam Presti continues to hunt value. Controlled contracts, developmental upside, financial flexibility, because eventually, paying franchise pillars gets expensive. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren, and Jalen Williams won't be cheap forever. To sustain contention, you need contributors outperforming their contracts. McCain fits that blueprint perfectly. This isn't just a future bet on potential. It's a present-day advantage in roster construction. If he returns fully to the form we saw before the injuries, this won't just look like a solid trade. It will look like another moment where the Thunder stayed patient and struck at exactly the right time.